that you've been introduced to the topic of relation, I'd like to apply it, okay? We're going to actually use it, and you can see how it might truly help you with the paper. The issue or event that I chose was when Tom Sawyer ran away to be a pirate on the island with his friends Joe and Huck. So the first step in invention, or coming up with some ideas for our inventory of ideas, is cause. What is it that caused Tom to run away and be a pirate? Well, he had a bad day at school, right? And if you remember, Becky broke up with him because she found out he'd been engaged to someone else. So Becky rejected him. What else caused him to run away to be a pirate? He ran across Huckleberry Finn, right? And they had a conversation, and Huck Finn is the kind of person or the kind of friend who would really influence you towards doing this, who would be fine with this and think it was a great idea. What else caused him to run away and be a pirate? It sounded like fun, right? It was a fun adventure. Well, what did this event cause? When Tom ran away to be a pirate, well, while they were there, Huck convinced him to smoke. And he got sick and he threw up. So this would be an effect of running away to be a pirate. Another thing that happened was he got homesick. Another thing that happened is that Aunt Polly was brokenhearted. Remember, she was sobbing and crying. So this is her broken heart. Another effect was that everyone thought he was dead. All the townspeople searched, they thought he was dead. So another effect was they had a funeral for him. And as a result, that gave him an opportunity to come back home with the big splash. Remember, where he crashed his own funeral? So these are some effects. This helps you analyze the literature and come up with an inventory of ideas. This is a little different from the kind of preachy kind of paper you could write that says, Tom was a naughty boy and Huck was a bad influence, and so he ran away to be a pirate, and then bad things happened to him. You see that it's just a little bit more complicated than that. You see that there were some things going on at school that were hard. There was the influence of this friend. There's the idea of fun. You could even say, well, we'll do that in the next section. Never mind. Okay, so this is one way to generate some ideas. And what you see is the relationship that they have with each other. So here you have this idea, poor Tom, nobody loves me. But then over here you see, well, Aunt Polly does. Look, she's brokenhearted. The townspeople cared enough to search for him. They cared enough to have a funeral. And so it's just interesting to see some of these relationships. So that's one way to do it. That's just like what comes off the top of your head, right? Well, another way to do it is to list the antecedents. So what are some things that happened before Tom ran away to be a pirate? Well, he whitewashed the fence. He gave medicine to the cat. What else did he do before he ran away to be a pirate? Oh, he took all those tickets and he tricked he got a Bible. He traded the tickets in for a Bible, implying that he'd memorized a ton of Bible verses when he really hadn't. So how do we want to say that? He got a Bible through a trick that he didn't really deserve. Another thing that happened is he answered the question. Because he got the Bible, they assumed he knew all this stuff about it, and Judge Thatcher said, who were the first two disciples? And he said David and Goliath when he answered that question. Another thing that happened before Tom ran away to be a pirate is that he went to the graveyard with Huckleberry Finn and they witnessed a murder. So they witnessed a murder in the graveyard. Okay, so here's some antecedents. These are things that happened before. Now, let's look at some things that happened after. Some consequent things that happened. After Tom ran away to be a pirate, they had a funeral, right? What else happened after they ran away to be a pirate? They came back home. Well, the funeral kind of relates to that. And they got homesick, remember that? Another thing that happened is he went on a field trip to a cave with Becky. And they got stuck in the cave, and they didn't have any food, and they didn't have any way to get out, and they were lost. And once again, we have all the people searching for them and assuming that they're dead, which seems to be something fun for Tom. Another thing that happened after this is that he and Huck found treasure. And another thing that happens is that he convinces Huckleberry Finn to move in with the widow Douglas. So Huck, Finn, he persuades him to move in with the widow Douglas. Okay? So here's some things that happened before, and here's some things that happened after. And now we're going to evaluate for cause and effect. And that's not as simple or simplistic as you think it might be. It's going to help you see some relationships between ideas that will help you come up with important and interesting things to say. Did whitewashing the fence cause Tom to run away to be a pirate? No, but it does show you that he didn't like to work. Did giving medicine to the cat cause Tom to run away to be a pirate? No, but it shows you that he's always in trouble at home. And maybe that he's a slightly ornery boy. Did getting a Bible through trickery and then embarrassing himself cause Tom to run away and be a pirate? No, but when you look at it, you're like, he got that Bible through a trick. So one thing that you can see is that he doesn't take the adult world very seriously, and he's kind of poking fun at the hypocrisy of the adult world. But then he answers the question wrong about the disciples. So it's like he sees the hypocrisy in the grown-ups, but he doesn't see the hypocrisy in himself. And then you have witnessing a murder in the graveyard. Did that cause him to run away and be a pirate? Because now we're evaluating for cause. It didn't. Which is really interesting, that he would run away when he has a bad day at school, but he wouldn't run away after he sees a murder. That tells you some things about him. So even though none of these things were strong causes, they were indirect causes, some of them, and they showed you some things about Tom that are going to be helpful. But you could also put under here, bad day at school, and Becky, and some of the other reasons why he ran away. Okay? So now you have the event, he runs away to the island, and then you have some consequences that come afterwards. Now you're going to evaluate these to see if they're true effects. Did they have the funeral because he ran away? Absolutely. Did he get homesick because he ran away? Absolutely. Did him running away to be a pirate cause him to get into trouble in the cave with Becky? No. Actually, when he was in the cave, he was very protective of her. He was trying to solve problems. He was just approaching the whole thing in a much more mature way than he had this adventure. Huckleberry Finn and Tom found treasure. Is that because they ran away to be a pirate? No, although there's the pirate treasure and the, but this didn't cause this. And Huckleberry Finn goes to live with the widow Douglas because Tom really urges her to. So we have to give Tom credit for this. Did he do this because of this? No, it's not a direct cause. But all of a sudden you start to see this relationship where maybe it kind of did cause it. He ran away, he experienced all that freedom and that homesickness and not being part of a community or society. And maybe that helped him see the value of it. and when he went back home, appreciate that his aunt really loved him and the townspeople cared about him. And he thought that would be a good thing for Tom to be part of too. Huck. So maybe Tom urged Huckleberry Finn to kind of buy into the societal norms of their little community and play the game and move in and comb his hair and wear shoes and go to school and all that. He started to see the benefits. So one thing you see from this story when you evaluate for cause and for effect is that this is a story about Tom growing up. Here he starts off childish, and you can see that he has some good in him, but that he's really immature in the way that he handles some things. He has this adventure, and then afterwards you see a little bit of change in Tom, where he's trying to do the right thing by Becky and by Huckleberry Finn, and the rules don't seem so to weigh him down and bother him quite as much as they used to. So this is interesting stuff that would not probably have come to your mind if you hadn't gone through this process of just brainstorming things that happened before, brainstorming things that happened afterwards, and then evaluating them, the antecedent for cause and the consequent for effect. And even if you decided it wasn't a direct or true cause, or it wasn't a direct or true effect, it still showed you some important relationships between the two ideas, and it did show you some true cause and effect. So there's two ways that you can look at this kind of assignment. One is that you can use these two tools of cause and effect, or antecedent and consequent, just to get the work done, very practical. I want to get the paper done so that I can get on with my life. I want to show the teacher that I understand, that I saw things for myself. Here it is. But then you can also just use it as a way for yourself to think. You went to all the trouble to read that book. What do you think about it? And this can help you come up with ideas that you want to express to other people and show them so that they can see some of the same things that you see. Okay? So this is how to apply relation using cause and effect, or antecedent and consequent, as an invention device to build your inventory of ideas and help you think.